So, greetings. There's this giant camera in my face. Apologies, that's the best way I could show you what I was doing. What am I doing? Let me pull it up again. This is a Bycocket with a split loop seam. And I pulled this how to do the split loop seam from Genoveva of the, I think it's Mistress Genoveva of the Middle Kingdom. A lot of what I'm doing right now comes from her. It's a lot of me being like, I want to do a thing, and looking it up and being like, she's done a thing, I'm gonna do what she did. But essentially, this is one of two Bycockets that I'm working on for a commission. Bycockets being Robin Hood hats. They're the pointy ones. They're essentially weird bucket hats that, you know, fold up and become a pointy front. I got two of them. This one is pretty much done already. I've got the trim and so forth on it, and I'm working on putting the trim on the other one. And so since I've not been online here much lately, I figured I would do the world's shortest video. It's not gonna be the world's shortest video. I can't talk for the world's shortest video amounts of time. But I figured I'd do a video and just sort of do the split loop seam, split loop stitch in front of you. It's very similar to crochet, where you're doing sort of loop in loop in loop. You're doing sort of loop sewing down, loop sew it down. I'm working in red and white, so I basically have a loop of red and a loop of white. You can see that these are actually doubled. That's only because I looked at what I had and went, I'm gonna make this work, so I doubled it to make it a little bit thicker. Most normal humans will do this with just one decorative loop. I'm using linen. It's real gross, sort of out at the ends. Like, it's definitely kind of a tangle out there, but I know that I have over-guessed the amount it's going to take to sort of go around the whole hat, so I've got a little grossness out there that I can work on. Let me see if I can zoom you in. Nope, that's out. Alright, so there's a zoom in, and I'll see if I can keep myself centered so you can see what's going on. I'm just rounding the point on this hat. So you can see white loop, red loop, needle. Needle has black thread, and I'm essentially at the point here where I'm sewing down my red loop. So red loop gets sewn down. And then I'm going to pass the white loop through the red loop. And I've been sort of tossing them like side and side as I go. So white loop through the red loop, and now I'm going to come across the white loop and sew it down. I'm just keeping the red loop out of the way. And then I'm going to grab the red on the way through, pull the red through the white, pull the white out of the way, catch everything on the table, because God forbid that I clean the rest of it off before I film anything. I'm going to figure out where my thread is, and then I'm going to sew my red loops down. And there's actually a knot in the black thread, so every time I struggle, I've hit the knot. But since I'm that guy, I'm like, nope, gonna keep going until the black thread breaks, because that's how we roll here. Alright, so then I've got my red open, I'm going to pass the white through and pull the red over. So you can see that it is very crochet-esque, where it's sort of, you do a loop, and you do a loop, and you do a loop. Again, this is the split loop seam, and I know there are at least a couple of Bycockets already in sort of the mid-realm, if you're SCA, in the center of the country that have this trim on it. Genoveva. At some point I'm gonna meet this poor woman and be like, hi, I've made a bunch of YouTube videos where I butchered your name. She made a Bycocket for a pelican for Master Gregoire, who I think was also Kingdom Earl Marshal a while ago. But she made his pelican Bycocket, his cap of maintenance, and it's got trim like this on it. And then I know that Odile de Bren, former Baroness of Sternfeld, also has one with this trim on it because I know her personally and texted her and was like, what the heck was that stitch called? I can't find it anywhere. And she was like, well, let me find it for you. So thanks to her as well as Genevieve for making this possible. The nice thing about this is that it's sort of finger loopy without finger loop. I always have trouble with finger loop because I want finger loop to be longer than I can easily make finger loop braid. So, you know, on finger loop braid, you're sort of constrained to the how far apart can you pull it with your hands. As a short kid, the answer to that is not very far. And so my finger loop braid always comes out real short. I'm also real bad. This is the same problem I have with null binding. I'm real bad at putting it down, like figuring out how to pick it back up again after I pee or something. So this gives you sort of a finger loop-like effect. I had also started, if I couldn't find this stitch or couldn't figure out sort of what I was doing, I had also started working on Kumihimo, which is going to be, this is a Kumihimo braid, and so you can see sort of the similarity there. This is a lot closer to, if you ever went to day camp and did that 4-strand round braid on GIMP, this is a lot more like, this is GIMP braiding with a fancy thing that, a fancy disc that helps you figure out where you are and where you've been and where you're going. This, I don't know if we have any record of this stuff, this split loop seam actually sewing up on hats, but Genevieve did track it down to, there is, I think it's a sweet bag, and I want to say it's in the V&A. It's somewhere in a museum. There's a sweet bag that has this as its edging. And honestly, like, it was sewn on and people weren't stupid and they would have repeated it if it looked the way they wanted. Now I'm fail-boating miserably at getting my loops sorted out. There we go. I just kind of turned the nose of the Bycocket, so I'm having to reposition where everything is. But that's kind of it for me. Things have been quiet, well, quiet-ish here. So, you know, still on lockdown, still playing that whole game. If anyone's got any questions, anything that they want me to show, the next thing I'm thinking of, come on, stitchy thread, the next thing I'm looking at is doing a demonstration of, or just a video of me attempting some nonsense. I have a theory on hennins, that they may have been the big, well, hennins being the big pointy princess hats. I have a theory that they may have been linen scrap, paper mache'd together to shape with a sort of hide glue base. And I finally have the shape ready to go. I have the hat form ready to go because it's covered in tin foil and just waiting to be taped, sort of taped solid in my kitchen. So I may videotape, I may videotape the first attempt at rabbit skin and linen scrap paper mache. I'm also trying to put together sort of a more formal video or a formal class on just hats in the medieval period in general and how to make them, because a lot of what we've got is sort of, I don't know, they had hats, and there's not much, until you get into sort of like late Elizabethan Tudor era, there's not much on sort of how they were made, so I'm doing a lot of that sort of back guessing from what I can find, so I may put together a class on that. If there's anything else that anyone wants to see, feel free to let me know. If you want your own Bycocket with fancy trim and you don't want to have to do it yourself, I know on my Ko-Fi, I think I've got commissions open. I will be doing, it turns out, some stuff for my actual job over the summer, but I think I will still have time to pick up, you know, the occasional hat here or there. So if you want in on this, absolutely let me know now. Other than that, have a delightful weekend or week or midweek or end of week whenever this goes up. Please subscribe, hit me up on Ko-Fi, hit me up on Instagram. You can hit me up on Twitter. I've started using it a little more again. And someday maybe I'll have a customer support department Facebook group. We'll see how that goes. Hit me up somewhere, and I'll see you later.